Hello, dear friends. The global chaos we live in seems to be a breeding ground for conspiracy theories. Opinion piece. Who destroyed the Georgia Guidestones? The investigation hasn't been published yet. Video showed a sedan car nearby. The explosion occurred at 3:33 a.m. There are various theories as to who did it. Was it the White House? Police found no suspects. Kandiss Taylor says it was God's doing. Galactics say they did it. Ashtar Sheran says it was the Federation. Wildfires raging in Europe. Divide and conquer, unite and rise. The monetary system is on the verge of implosion. Sergey Lavrov compares the West to a wild beast. He says it's best not to provoke it, lest it tear everything apart. Washington and London are on a crusade against Moscow. Governments are falling and presidents are resigning. Tony Blair warns that, in quotes, "We are coming to the end of the West's dominance." Let's start. Because the authorities have not yet released the results of their investigations, there are several conspiracy theories about the destruction of the controversial Georgia Guidestones, and I am not going to side with any of them, but an alleged message from the Federation says they demolished them themselves because of the eugenic population reduction message written on the stones. Previously, it was said that it was the White Hats, but no one could prove it, although other conspiracy theorists insist that God tore down the Georgia Guidestones. They say the destruction of the monument was a natural, or perhaps supernatural, event and not a planned attack by a disgruntled individual. If the destruction of the rocks was as mysterious as the monument's provenance, there might be some reason to wonder how they were reduced to rubble. Kandiss Taylor, a Republican candidate who ran against Brian Kemp in the state primary, implied that, in quotes, God threw down the slabs, but that if she were a person, she would oppose her and him and call for him arrest. Police for his arrest. Police have not yet found any suspects. Another man spent more than 12 laborious minutes on a YouTube video insisting that it made more sense for lightning to strike the stones than for an individual to destroy them with a bomb. He concluded that it was almost certainly an act of God if it was in fact lightning. Local sheriffs released a video of the explosion that destroyed the slabs. A sedan car can be seen in the video, driving away shortly after the explosion destroyed the slabs, which doesn't seem very supernatural at first glance. The most curious thing about the case is that the explosion occurred at exactly 3:33 a.m. and it is also very strange that only the stones that were written in Chinese and Russian were left standing. The Georgian Bureau of Investigation confirmed that an explosive device was used to destroy one of the 6 granite slabs of the monument. It seems obvious from the scattering of debris that an explosive was dropped next to the rocks. Hours after the first pillar was destroyed, Elberton County, Georgia, made the decision to demolish the rest of the stones to ensure the safety of the site. The plan to depopulate humankind is neither ethical nor moral. There is much talk of reducing the population of the planet, but no one has the right to decide on the life and death of other humankind other than the Creator. No one has the authority to keep humankind at 500 million, as the Stones read, when there is already clean technology of free energy and replicators hidden from the population that would allow many more humans to survive without the need to pollute the planet. Message. Ashtar Sheran says they demolished Georgia's Guidestones. On July 6th of this month, Georgia's Guidestones were destroyed. There has been no explanation so far for this attack. The Galactic Federation takes alleged responsibility for this. It says that they are trying to conceal their existence, that they are helping the people of Earth, and no human being will be harmed in this effort, as they value life and do not destroy it. It says that they uphold the birthright of human beings and that no program of dehumanization will be carried out any longer, for they are reversing the process we have experienced, as enough human beings have been awakened so that they can now move into the light, but the wicked are still carrying out events that require to be played out. It says that evil will be punished if it is attempted against the people of the earth. Governments are falling and presidents are resigning. The monetary system would be on the verge of implosion, and the new system would be initiated worldwide. With China's financial system in ruins, there is no hope for the globalists. They have no money, and the inflated currency could soon deflate as oil reserves continue to be shipped abroad in the hope of maintaining finances, but all reverses are being confiscated. Cyber attacks around the world could open the door to a Black Swan event, for which all major nations and their armed forces are preparing. Multiple government agencies around the world have issued a warning threat aimed at managed service providers. Space Force would shut down the entire planet and switch to Tesla-free energy. All social networking platforms would be eliminated and replaced by new ones with the new quantum internet in unhackable space. Europe. The euro has fallen to a 20-year low. Europe is in full meltdown as markets crash, small banks close, and the media report recession. Hundreds evacuated by forest fires in Europe. The European Union helps Spain and 4 other countries affected by forest fires. Heat leaves more than 300 dead in southern Europe and already threatens the north. The UK declares for the first time a red alert for the heat wave. The family of aspiring British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak runs a company associated with the Davos Forum and linked to the city that pushes digital identification, trackable digital currencies, and social credit scoring to keep tabs on us. Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair warns that, in quotes, we may be coming to the end of the West's political and economic dominance. The former politician believes that the old world is on the road to multipolarity, and China would already be the world's second superpower, in his opinion. Government crisis in Italy frozen until next Wednesday. Croatia to adopt the euro in 2023. Watch out for CaixaBank, as it is still at risk of further falls. Americas. Mexico monitors a phenomenon on its southern coasts with 90% cyclonic potential. 14 dead in the helicopter part in the capture of the couple. The Mexican government will seek to stop a court ruling that allows Monsanto to use GMOs and glyphosate. Cuba and Mexico seal a business front with the signing of 12 agreements. Argentina raises the need for better financial conditions before the G20. Argentina says that Uruguay's negotiations with China will have to go through Mercosur. The Chilean ISR intervenes up to $25 billion due to the fall of the peso. An avalanche buries a school in Colombia. Colombian government confirms the death of 2 minors during the bombing of the FARC dissident leaders' camp. The Awa indigenous community denounces extermination and accuses the Colombian government of inaction. Ecuador eliminates the single entrance exam to its universities. The consortium formed by Metro de Medellín and Transdev will operate the Quito Metro. The Peruvian Congress approved an OAS assembly in Lima. The Peruvian Congress approves a law regulating remote gambling and gaming. Peru to host an Asian American meeting against terrorism in September. The former Peruvian President Francisco Sagasti proposes shortening Pedro Castillo's presidential term. Alianza Popular rejects the Panamanian government's offer to fix the price of fuel. High prices leave 2.6 million Hondurans in food crisis. Nicaragua extends full price freeze for a week. Gang fighting in Hawaii leaves 99 dead in the last week. Russia steps up its attack on Donetsk with the town of Sievsk in its sights. Ukrainian AN-12 cargo plane crashes in Greece. Russia Defense Minister Sergey Shoigu orders the military to increase combat activities on all fronts in special operations in Ukraine in order to prevent Kiev forces from further attacking civilian areas in the Donbas and other regions. Russia builds a laser weapon called Kalina to soft-kill spy satellites. President Putin signs a law banning cryptocurrency payments. Is a US-Russia war becoming unavoidable? US and Russia to resume space flights to the International Space Station. In quote, the station was designed to be independent and depends to function on the contribution of each space agency. No one agency has the ability to function independently of the others. USA. John Bolton has just admitted publicly that he has helped run overseas coups. Trump hints that he has made a decision to run for president in 2024. Saudi Arabia ends its veto on Israel by opening its airspace. The US and Israel declare that Iran will never be allowed to acquire a nuclear weapon in the joint declaration in Jerusalem. Saudi Arabia announces an oil production increase of 13 million barrels per day, after which it will not be able to increase production. The Saudi Crown Prince told Biden that, in quotes, imposing values by force is counterproductive, and the US didn't succeed in that. Biden is unrepentant about calling Saudi Arabia a pariah country and holds bin Salman responsible for Khashoggi's murder. Saudi Arabia and several other countries have joined gold and asset-backed currencies. Indiana man hailed a hero after saving 5 people from a fire. The cause of death of Trump's first wife, Ivana, is blunt impact injuries on the torso sustained as a result of a fall. All US trains may be stopped next Monday. Workers are resigning. Deliveries are delayed and there may be a nationwide strike. More than 57,000 rail workers may walk out on 18th July in protest against low wages and poor working conditions. Africa. The United Nations turned off Uganda's radars and is moving in with artillery and ammunition into the African country, where the world's largest gold deposits was found. Now Uganda has become overnight one of the richest countries in the world, and they want its gold. Witchcraft against harassment. In Congo, there are no specialized institutions to provide protection for victims of abuse. Therefore, people often resort to more traditional methods to obtain it. Mothers often take their daughters to see witches and healers who perform rituals to prevent girls' braids from growing, and thus supposedly ensure their safety. Asia. Sri Lanka celebrates the success of its social uprising after the resignation of the president. The fall of Sri Lanka would bring a planned rapid reconstruction through a gold-backed currency. US approved sale of $108 million worth of military aid to Taiwan. The guided missile destroyer USS Benfold enters waters of the Spratly Islands in the South China Sea. China's house prices fell for the 9th consecutive month in May. China is on the brink of a violent debt jubilee as disgruntled home buyers refuse to pay their mortgage. Home buyers have stopped mortgage payments on at least 100 projects in more than 50 cities as of Wednesday, up from 58 projects on Tuesday and only 28 on Monday. The payment refusals come at a time when Chinese economy is set to post the negative GDP trend due to the latest economic shutdown. The storm sweeping China's real estate sector is affecting hundreds of thousands of citizens, posing a threat to social stability. Chinese banks are already grappling with the challenges of illiquidity and now also have to prepare for home buyer defaults. Opinions. According to Anthony Stone, in quotes, the power system continues only as long as people try to get something for nothing. The day when the majority of individuals act as if they want nothing from government, the power elite will be doomed. This past 4th of July was not only about celebrating American independence, but the independence of the entire planet and all humankind. It is about freedom and unity. It is about all coming together as one, said Saint-Germain. Unchecked inflation. Having the world's default reserve currency has been a great blessing to the empire because it has allowed them to enjoy a much higher standard of living. But instead of doing everything possible to preserve and protect the currency, the leaders have decided to destroy it. As a result, the rate of inflation has spiraled out of control, and experts are very worried about what lies ahead. The Agony of the West by Thierry Mason. Sergey Lavrov often compares the West to a wounded beast. He believes it would be better not to provoke it to prevent it from tearing everything apart in a fit of madness. In quotes, it is better to lead it peacefully to the graveyard, he says. But the West does not see it the same way. Washington and London are on a crusade against Moscow and Beijing. They roar constantly and seem ready for anything. But what can they actually do? Freedom from fear by Steve Biko. There are degrees of freedom. At one end of the spectrum, there is physical freedom, where all my limbs and organs function, and I can live without worrying much about them. That's basic level of freedom. At the other end of the spectrum is maximum freedom. We climb Jacob's ladder of consciousness all the way back to the One. Reunion with the One is the ultimate freedom, and there is a wide range of intermediate freedoms in between. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.